بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا وأنت تجعل الحزن إذا شئت سهلا. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Today we continue the final of this series about the four great giants. Among the many giants we have covered Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi alayh, basically you can say the grandfather of the four Imams, in other words, followed by Imam Malik ibn Anas, followed by Imam Muhammad ibn Idris al-Shafi'i, and now we have reached Imam Ahmed ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbel. We've already covered about 10 minutes of his introduction and his bit of his background last week, and today inshallah we will continue the rest of the biography of this great Imam Ahmed, the fourth of the four madhahibs that survived till today. As a title we gave to remind you, when you think of Imam Abu Hanifa and Nu'man ibn Thabit, you think of the loving man. When you think of Imam Malik, you think of the man of aura. When you think of Imam al-Shafi'i, he is the encyclopedist. He had knowledge in all areas. And when you think of Imam Ahmed, it's difficult, but I had three titles for him in one. He is the man of piety, determination, and resilience. Piety, determination, and resilience. This is what comes to your mind when you hear the name Imam Ahmed. Another thing that comes to your mind is hadith. Imam Ahmed was the top in his rank in hadith. And the people in hadith have ranks, they have levels, and they're called names. The lowest of those names is called a hafiz, or a muhaddith, a hafiz. Today we say hafiz for someone who's memorized the Quran. But the real definition or title of hafiz is a hafiz of hadith. Minimum for a hafiz, he or she would have known 30,000 hadiths with their chain of narrations complete with authentic authority. Imam Ahmed is said to have known, some narrations say, up to 1 million. That's mixed between sahih hadith and da'if hadith. And he was able to know which ones from which. I don't recall which Imam it was who taught his son 30,000 hadiths in that era. And after he learned 30,000 hadiths, his son was about 12 years old, said to him, son, now it's time to learn the authentic hadiths. Everything you learned was the da'if, weak or fabricated. Imam Ahmed, the middle or the balanced amount that he is said to have memorized is 700,000. Allahu A'lam, that is a huge amount anyway, even if he memorized 100,000. And Imam Ahmed, he produced these hadiths in a famous book called Kitab al-Musnad. And today, scholars, for those of you who want to know, when they say this hadith is in Musnad Ahmed, this is how they say, Musnad Ahmed, there's no need to search which Ahmed it is. You don't need to ask which Ahmed. Or when they say Rawahu Ahmed, it is narrated by Ahmed. Automatically it is Ahmed ibn Muhammad ibn Hanbel. Al-Shaybani is his original tribal name. So they say Musnad Ahmed in the book. Musnad basically it comes from the word of sanad, which is chains of narrations. So his book is carried on authenticity. It is a bit unusual, and I don't understand why. We have 6 books of hadith that are the top and the most authentic of all. I don't understand why the Musnad of Ahmed did not make it in the top ranking of the 6. It is not considered as Al-Kutub al-Sitta, which are Al-Bukhari, Muslim, Al-Bayhaqi, Al-Nisa'i, Al-Tirmidhi and Abu Dawud. Musnad Ahmed is a reliable source, but for some reason this one and some other books didn't make it. I don't understand why, although the great scholars, including the contemporary scholars and later ones and many others, really, and Imam Bukhari, and all of them relied on Musnad Ahmed, because Bukhari and Muslim, they all came after. Maybe for political reasons, maybe for other reasons, Allahu A'lam. Maybe because all these other 6 books had most of the hadith that are already in Musnad, and they just put it into these new books and revised them again. Allahu A'lam. But nevertheless, when someone says Musnad Ahmad, Rawahu Ahmad, then you know he is a muhaddith, a man of authority. When you say hadith narrated by him, then it is a strong hadith, inshaAllah. He went to great lengths. My brothers and sisters, I said he is a man of piety, of determination and resilience. Piety, taqwa. Although all the scholars were men of piety and taqwa, when we say he is an imam of piety, we're talking about where he stands out beyond measure, to the point of what we call wara'. You know, there are people who abstain from haram. They abstain from haram, from major sins, but they still do minor sins. And there are people who abstain from minor sins, which is, mashallah, more taqwa. Because taqwa means to defend yourself and protect yourselves from haram as much as you can. And there are people who not only protect themselves from many minor sins and repent quickly, but also from the halal things which they fear may lead to haram. And this is called wara'. And we gave an example of Imam Abu Hanifa once, when he used to make clothing, and sometimes he'd make time for the women. One of them was sitting on a chair, and then she left, and a man came and sat in her place immediately. Imam Abu Hanifa said, don't sit in her place, you should wait until the spot where she sat on cools down. This is wara'. This is a form of wara'. Or when Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu heard about Hudhayfa, that he married a Jewish woman, and he said to him, divorce her. He said, why, ya Imam, halal or haram? He said, halal, but you're an example, and I fear that in the future men, mu'mineen, will take you as a role model and say, well, Hudhayfa did it so easily, so therefore we'll marry from the kitabiyat, from the women of the people of the book, Christians and Jews. And because they have khalaba, these women, they don't have the degree of hijab and the degree of modesty that Muslim women have, especially in those days. I'm not talking about today, things are getting out of hand, unfortunately, but in those days it's much different. And they'll start looking at these women, they'll attract them, and they'll start marrying them and leave the pure, pious, Muslim, believing women aside. That's what I fear. Hudhayfa divorced her based on taqwa, and this is called wara'. Imam Ahmed was a man of determination. You're going to find out today what a determined man. Someone who makes a decision and sticks to it to the end. And this is really a quality of men. And really, a lot of us are respect when I explain Imam Ahmed's determination. Nothing stopped him, mashallah. You understand, and probably to some of you may seem a little bit extreme, but this was his way. Every scholar was known to be extra cautious in a particular area. Imam Malik never lifted his legs off the ground because he, out of respect for the Prophet ﷺ's body in the grave, he never left Medina in his life and died there. This is what he's known for. Imam Ahmed, you'll see his determination. Resilience is when something, after a calamity or a hardship, they come back straight. It doesn't affect them. So calamities, and resilience comes from the meaning of when a rod is bent and then it just goes back. Rasul ﷺ described the believer with resilience like a palm tree, and he described the arrogant person who disbelieves in Allah and arrogant like the cedar tree, the arz tree. The palm tree, it bends with the wind. No matter how strong the wind bends it, its head will touch the ground in the strongest storm, and after the storm is gone, the palm tree goes straight back up as it was before, as if it hadn't been harmed. As for the cedar tree, al-arz is known to be a solid, stubborn tree. The wind comes really hard, and it'll fight the wind, until it breaks. And when it breaks, there's nothing left. So Imam Ahmed was resilient, man of determination and a man of piety. Unlike all the other imams, we said that every imam had a turning point in their life, meaning there was a time in their life where something happened, and then they went into the world of scholarly knowledge and religion. Except for Imam Ahmed. He was different to the rest. We cannot find at any time in his life where there was something that turned him around, made him go into the... In his history we find that from when he was a baby to when he was a child, he was always raised on religion and knowledge and the circles of deen.
أمة الإسلام بشرى إننا نلمح فجرا في شباب قد أشادوا صحوة للدين كبرى.